What's up YouTube? Graylan Stewart here with another video. So this video I'm going to talk about how I got my first deal in less than 30 days. So really, it all started for me in September of 2018. And, I discovered wholesaling and I was already doing marketing, had a background in that, been doing that most of my adult life. But man, once I discovered wholesaling, I knew that was what I needed to do. So I jumped right in. I literally found out about wholesaling and just studied it for hours. And, within the first week, I was already doing everything it took to basically get a deal. And really what that is which I've talked about in another video or two, is just taking action. So as soon as I learned about it, I knew you could make a lot of money, and it definitely seemed real to me. So I was like, I'm going to give this a shot and see what I can do. So I jumped right in right away, and then actually did some direct mail postcards. I basically bought a list of motivated sellers online, and once I got that list, and it was just a basic list that everybody does, it's basically an absentee owner is what that was. So and it was only 1,000 because I didn't want to spend a lot of money because I thought this is probably something that is worth my while, but at the same time I was still cautious because the concept wasn't proven for me personally. It was definitely seemed to be proven for a bunch of other people out there, but at the same time, I was new. So basically I just jumped right in, took action. Because I know that's what really makes a difference in whatever that you do is action. Actually following through with what you're learning, and not just learning. Because a lot of people fall into that trap. You just learn and learn and learn forever, and you never end up doing anything. So taking action is always the fastest way to success, in my opinion. So, anyways, discovered wholesaling early September 2018. Within that same week that I discovered it, I had postcards already ordered. And then a couple weeks later, my wife and I, well, maybe a week later, I think we had a trip planned to Vegas because we love to travel, and Vegas is one of my favorite places. Just to people watch the shows, gamble, whatever, right? So anyway, we were there in Vegas. This was, I think it was about a week after I started, learning about wholesaling. So about a week after that, we already had the postcards ordered and everything. It could have been 2 weeks now that I think about it because I was in Vegas. So anyways, I'm in Vegas. We're walking down the strip, just hanging out, and I got a phone call, and I noticed it was a call rail number, because I set up call rail because that's what I heard that you should do, don't use your real phone number. So I had a call rail number, and I was getting calls. So I was like, whoa, I was kind of nervous because it was my very first call. So I took the call while I was on the strip. Actually, I remember exactly where I was. I was pretty close to, I was right next door to the link outside, kind of right by that giant Ferris wheel thing that they have out there when the call came in. So I took the call, and I was super nervous, but I was like, well, this is what it takes, I just got to do it and fumble through it, which is cool. So I did. I took the call, and it was a lady that had a house that she wanted to sell. She got my postcard, so it did exactly what I hoped it did. Just it worked a little. It came in a little quicker than I thought because honestly, I thought I timed it out to where the postcards would actually mail on a Monday because we were in Vegas just like a weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So I kind of planned it to where they would mail on a Monday, but they went early. So this was on a Saturday, so they actually hit the post office or the mailboxes on Saturday. So I was like, okay, that's cool. So I took the call, and I just basically said, hey, let me do a little bit of research and I'll call you right back. So I hung up with that, and then I told my wife, I'm like, we got to get to the room, get my laptop out, right? So I went to the room, and probably in there an hour or two because I actually got another call or two, while I was doing that. But anyways, I did go to the room, called the lady back. She was definitely motivated to sell. She wanted, just a quick close on a property that they were trying to liquidate. They needed money for something else. I don't remember the situation, but that was a couple years ago now. But she definitely was motivated to sell. We got the price right and ended up doing the deal right over the phone. So I never saw the house or anything, didn't have pictures, didn't have a clue. I just knew, just based off of the little bit of knowledge that I knew, that the property was probably worth $70,000 or $80,000, right? All fixed up, the ARV, and she was willing to do the deal for like 30 grand, right? So I got the contract. I went ahead and sent. Back then, I was using Right Signature. It's basically like a DocuSign, but it's just a different service, Right Signature. There's also HelloSign. There's several of them out there that you can do digital signatures. So anyways, I sent her. I already just happened to set up a Right Signature account because that's just what I found when I was researching, and it was cheaper, I think, is probably why I did it. Because keep in mind, I was brand new, and the concept seemed real, but it wasn't real to me yet because I hadn't done it yet. So I was definitely trying to watch my money to make sure I didn't just throw things away. Because the postcards, actually, that list that I sent of absentee list, I think it only had maybe 2,000 names on it because I kept dwindling it down because the general list was probably 30,000-40,000 names on there. I'm like, I'm not spending that kind of money starting out, So I think it was a couple thousand names, maybe 2,500, somewhere in that ballpark. And I ended up spending maybe $1,000 to $1,200 on the postcards. Well worth it for me. I'm a risk taker at heart, which I think if you're an entrepreneur, that's probably what you need to be, is a risk taker, at least to some degree, because all entrepreneurship and business ownership, it takes risk, because you're really just, banking on everything, to do a lot of businesses. But anyway, this is a small thing for me. I was like, a couple $1,000 all in for everything, probably, probably less than that, but it was worth the risk or gamble in hopes to get these checks that I kept hearing about, $5, $10, $15, $20,000 checks or whatever. So I was like, man, let's see if this is real, So I sent the postcards, got the deal over the phone while I was in Vegas. Of course, when I went back home on Monday, I did actually go view the property and check it out. But while I was in Vegas, I actually got two deals. So that first postcard that went out on a Saturday that was supposed to hit Monday, it actually turned into two contracts while I was in Vegas. So I did both of those deals over the phone, negotiated them, got the deals signed and everything by the sellers. And so when I got back home Monday, I went out to check them out. And actually, I think the Friday before, or I don't know, sometime during the week before we went to Vegas, I actually went to my very first meetup. It was a wholesalers type of meetup in my local area. So I went there, I think I ended up getting like 18 buyers on my buyers list. That was like starting out. That's all I had, 18. And so Monday when I got home, I did go look at those two houses, took pictures and some walkthrough videos and that kind of thing. And then I actually emailed those 18 buyers that I had, and I might have called them, but I think I emailed them all, and I ended up being able to sell them once a couple of them looked at it. So I got contracts with assignment contract with buyers at that same, those same couple of days once I got back. So long story short, I definitely got my two deals. The first two deals within the first probably a week or two, after the postcard went out. And then actually my very first house that I closed on was on October 3rd. And keep in mind, I just discovered wholesaling early September. And those postcards hit probably mid-September, somewhere around that time period. So I found a buyer and we closed by October 3rd. That was my very first closing. It was only $5,200. And I didn't even care about the money and how much it was necessarily at that time, because I just knew at that point that it was real, which I knew it was, but it was real to me now. The concept was proven, and I'd done it, right? $5,200. It's not a ton of money. Some of you might think that's a ton of money, but I mean, I was already successful in my marketing business, and $5,200 wasn't that much, but it meant everything, because that's what started the whole thing, right? So I ended up actually, I think I did, I think I ended up getting 8 contracts by the end of September, and we actually closed on 7 of those in October of 2018. So I made about $72,000 my very first month of wholesaling. Now that is not typical, I've heard, and now that I've been in it 2 years, it's definitely not typical, because I do know people that have, been trying to get their first deal for a year. But at the same time, the whole reason I think I was successful is because I just jumped in, right? Fail forward, learn as you go, whatever you want to call it. I mean, the biggest obstacle for most people is getting started. So just actually getting out there, putting yourself out there, and just doing it. Action, right? Action is the most important thing in this business, period. And probably the most important thing in any type of entrepreneurship that you might endeavor. So I took action fast. It definitely worked out for me. Here we are 2 years later, doing tons of deals every single month. And everything's 100% virtually. I started off virtual wholesaling because I've lived in 2 different states for like 8 years, back and forth between 2 different states, week on, week off, consistently. So right from the get-go, I had to start virtually. So I already knew that was even a little bit more of a challenge, probably because I wasn't necessarily local all the time. But at the same time, when there's a will, there's a way, and you overcome those challenges if you really want it. So long story short, that's how I got my first deal in 30 days, actually less than 30 days. And man, the rest is history. So if you're looking to get into wholesaling, you can do it. It is possible. It's definitely not easy like a lot of people try to make it out to be. The concept is super simple, but the process can be difficult. But if you're willing to put the time and work in, and just take massive action, like everybody else says, that's more true than anything, I think, is just taking huge action. So if you're looking to get into it, I definitely suggest it. But if you're not an entrepreneur at heart, if you're not a risk taker, if you're not a go-getter, if you're not an action taker, then I highly recommend don't do it, because it's not easy, but it's definitely worth it. So that's all I got for you today. Have a great day, and I hope to see you guys in future videos. Please subscribe if you haven't already, and share this content, and please give me a thumbs up. I'd appreciate that too. Talk to you guys later. Thanks.